everyone, I'm John from Let's Talk.
And I'm Carmela from Salem, Cellar.
And this is actually going to be our first episode in our new podcast slash YouTube show called Influential Horror Films with Let's Talk and Salem Cellar. And our first film we decided to pick was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1956 original, but we'll also be talking about the 78 one, and we're going to talk about all the movies that it influenced. And there are a lot of them, right, Carmela?
There was a lot. A lot of them I was surprised. There was a couple that like really stuck out that I'm like, okay, this is definitely, based off of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But there was some I was surprised about.
But the original 1956 one was actually directed by Don Siegel, who directed the original Dirty Harry movie.
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
So that guy's got some work in him, and the original one, it takes place in, like, I guess, what's the name of the city? Like, it's Santa something in California. An alien cruise ship, I guess, crash lands on Earth. These aliens are not like your typical aliens. These aliens are starting to replicate the human beings that live on Earth, and they look and act just like them, have the same memories, but the only thing is their emotions are just not lining up. And the original one, shot in black and white, it looked beautiful for the time. I rewatched this one actually for the show myself, and hasn't aged that gracefully, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't do my homework like John, and I did not rewatch this one recently. So that one's a little, I just remember last time I did watch it, I felt the same way. Like I felt like this is definitely not like the remake. The remake for me is just like gold. I love every movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I watched them back-to-back days, and it's like night and day how much better the remake is than the original. I mean, just in every way. The score is better. The story's a little bit more like they go for the darker ending, whereas in the original one they kind of give us the happy ending, which is the bit difference between the 50s and 70s. And also Donald Sutherland, I love him in that movie. I also love that he's I want that job. I want to be a health inspector like him, trying out food all day.
the end scene with him, like that's something like I can never get out of my mind. And you see like the gifs and the memes everywhere with him like pointing and screaming. That's just something that's like seared in my brain for like the rest of my life.
And did you know that was going to happen the first time you saw it? Because the first time I saw it, I didn't expect that at all. I was like, because he's like, I was a little suspicious because he walks out in the hallway, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's just trying to blend in because they said that works. And then when he turns around and points and that noise comes out of him, I was like, oh my God.
I was a kid when I watched that scene for the first time, so I had no idea what I was about to watch, and it scared the hell out of me. That noise is like bone chilling, and I'm like, no, this is so bad.
Poor guy. He was doing so well.
That's usually how it happens. Like, you think these people are going to make it, and they're like, no.
No, you don't get the happy ending. And another big difference is the special effects between the first one, the original one and the remake. The original one, they actually look like pea pods. The actual pods.
I remember that. It's so bad.
Like they had no money. It was so obvious.
It's so bad.
And then when they're transforming, it's like bubble bath, it looks like. Instead of like in the remake, it's like stringy and like it actually looks scary.
Gross, like gross.
Oh my God, disgusting.
Yeah. So there's a Body Snatchers that I actually have never seen. I don't think you said you've seen it, right?
No.
1993.
No, I never saw that one either. I didn't know there was another remake. But when the 78 one came out, like, I mean, I wasn't around, but I thought that was the original. So I saw that one first, and then I went back to 56. I didn't know originally that was a remake.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened for me, because that was before I was born, even though I'm old. I thought that was the original. And I'm like, wait a second, there's an even older film than this? Because it feels old when you're young and you're watching a film from the 70s. Like I think it was like the 90s when I watched it. I'm like, this is like ancient. This is like from 100 years ago. But there's an even older film. So I had no idea there was one from 93. Like, I need to watch this. Yeah, from the picture alone, it didn't look like it was that good, but you can't really judge a book by its cover. I'm judging it, but
yeah, well, you have the right to be suspicious. The fact that we both haven't seen it and you never hear anyone talk about it makes me think that maybe it's not that great, but you never know. Sometimes a gem needs to be rediscovered by somebody else. Maybe you'll watch it and love it. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we both said that one of the biggest influences we saw in this movie was John Carpenter films because of The Thing.
The Thing is a remake from another film, but he definitely got influenced from the invasion of the Body Snatchers with this one. If you read up on the original movie and then the Thing, the remake, they sound completely different. It was definitely, he was going for that vibe, for the paranoia, for, you know, the creatures like taking us over, copying us. Like those movies are just very similar. I feel like it was more similar to Invasion of the Body Snatchers than it was for the movie that it was supposed to be like a remake of.
No, I completely agree. And the place I saw it most was in the original one. They have a scene where they're actually in they're doing an autopsy, like they do the autopsy scene in The Thing, and how it didn't finish creating. So like there's certain parts that aren't completely finished. So like in the original one, you know, it's like their face isn't finished, but in The Thing, you know, their body, like they didn't finish creating, so their insides are all messed up still. So he's like, I've never seen anything like this. So I always thought that was a huge influence when I was like, oh my god, he definitely watched this movie and took that right out of it. Another movie from him is They Live. I felt like that took a lot from this one. I don't know if you see that as well.
It's been a while since I've seen They Live. Like I think I might have saw that movie like twice, like 100 years ago, and I haven't like watched it since. So yeah, I need a refresher on They Live.
Well, in They Live, it's a bunch of aliens taking the place of human beings. They're saying that but instead of it like being like, you know, just everybody, like there's only certain people are the aliens, and they're really supposed to be like the people in charge, like the higher powers of the aliens. But the fact that they look and act just like humans, I feel like that was kind of taken from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Only that aspect of it, of like aliens in the form of human beings and just walking amongst us. But then it becomes more of like, you know, a political conspiracy theory kind of film after that.
But even it's funny that you said political, but even the Invasion of Body Snatchers is a very political film. Like a lot of influences in these films are political. So it's funny that you just said that. The same thing with like another movie that I was pretty surprised about was Get Out. Get Out was a movie that took a lot of influence from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, you brought that up, and I actually completely agree with you on that. I didn't even like think about Get Out, but you're right. It's literally, instead of it, you know, just being an alien, it's human beings like somehow being able to take the brains from somebody else and put it into another human being, but yet the consciousness is still in there. So yeah, I think it definitely took a lot from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
So how did you feel about the remake Invasion, the one with Daniel Craig, Nicole Kidman? Did you like that movie? I know it gets a lot of hate.
So I actually haven't seen that movie, so I've heard of it, but I actually haven't seen it. Do you like it?
I personally love this movie. I know it gets a lot of hate, and some people are just like, oh, this is a really bad remake. I loved Nicole Kidman's performance in this film. She has this face that's this like, you know, this straight face that like, there's times, like a spoiler, there's times in the movie where she has to pretend to be one of the, you know, the aliens, and she has to be straight faced. She has to be very serious. I think that was like a perfect role for her because she's like emotionalist. There's no emotion sometimes with her appearance. So I think she was perfect for the role. Daniel Craig, I loved the more modern aspect of this film. Like Nicole Kidman is divorced. She has a son. Her ex-husband works for the government. I'm pretty sure she's a psychologist, and something crash lands on the planet and he gets infected. He's the ex-husband, and he starts spreading it. And it was like, you know, through their fluids, they start spreading it. And then you see them morph, like that gross goo on them. It's just like kind of like in a gross cocoon. And they're like shedding off their skin. It's very visual. I personally loved the story. I loved the modern take of it all. I had fun throughout. So definitely should see it. I don't know if you'll love it as much as I did, but I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. I'll try any movie once. And I mean, with Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman, I'm all in. I always feel like Nicole Kidman, no matter what movie she's in, she always commits. Like, she doesn't seem to stick to like one genre. Like, I'm sure you like The Others, the horror film from '01. Yeah. You know, even though she appears in all these big prestige films, she still has no problem coming in and doing horror. So that's why I love Nicole Kidman. So I'll have to check it out.
I definitely think you like it. It's definitely one of my favorite remakes.
And one thing when I was watching the movie, it's funny because you said how these movies were politically influenced. I looked it up and they said the original one was about like McCarthyism. The way I was watching it, I thought it was a little bit more like talking about human beings and how we all just kind of end up in the same rut, essentially. Like we're all here, but we're not here. Like we've lost all of our motion. We're just like zombies walking through the world doing our day-to-day lives. That's what I kind of felt like the movie was trying to say, like, don't lose your humanity. You're gonna lose it. That's what I felt like. And when they take over for us, they just take all the emotion out of us.
And think about how things are now. Even it was kind of like they guessed what our future was going to be. Like we're robots. I just look around when I'm out and I see everybody staring down on their phones. Like
we're so buried in our phones. Instead of giving someone a real smile, we send an emoji.
We don't think for ourselves anymore. We are kind of just like following what other people do, kind of like sheep. And we're just letting technology take over for us. And we don't think for ourselves. Like there's no emotion anymore. It's just, it's gone. It's completely gone. So yes, when watching these movies, it just feels like, especially like another movie that we were talking about that was 100% influenced by this film was The Faculty. Think about how they were once they got turned into the aliens, like completely emotionless, completely like robots, no emotion anymore. Just like it made me think of that when you said that.
Yeah, I think that was the first movie you actually brought up when you wanted to talk about this was The Faculty. So I assume that that's a big one for you when you were growing up, right?
Oh my God, that is a love of mine. Me and my sister Faith, John's husband. John's
Faith is my husband.
John's wife. Like that was like one of our favorite movies growing up. That was a film that to this day I watch it weekly. When I'm watching this film, I automatically think Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a modern day take of it. And instead of adults living adult lives, it's teenagers. And this film is just like it's beautifully done. You see one by one the people getting infected. The opening scene with the principal and the gym teacher, and he's chasing her through the school. It's just so dark. It's just like, you see these aliens come in, and the whole time it's like everybody's paranoid. You have no idea who's infected. That is a big tone, a big theme for these movies is paranoia. You have no idea who is the alien, who is the monster, just because, and you just can't really tell now. And like, if that would have happened in anything modern, you would have no idea because we all just
100%
are just our shells. Unfortunately,
you just actually, it's funny. I was listening to you talk about The Faculty. I haven't watched The Faculty in years. You're right. Your sister loves that movie very much, and I've never been the biggest Faculty fan. So, but you were just talking about it, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch it now.
Just watch the opening scene. With the it's the Team 1000, right?
Robert Patrick, yep.
Yes. He runs after her in one scene, and it's just like Terminator vibes. Like I'm like, oh my God, the T-1000 is back.
Oh my God, I know. Because Robert Patrick, when he runs like the T-1000 and T2, makes you like, man, that guy can run.
Yes. And there's a scene where he's down the hallway, like he's chasing this woman. It's terrifying, but he's down at one end of the hallway and she's on the other, and he just starts sprinting towards her, and it's just like, oh my God, very robotic, very stiff, but terrifying. Like, this man is not who he was in the opening scene. Like he is just he has an alien inside of him possessing him. You have to rewatch this.
No, I'm gonna rewatch it tonight because I don't even have to ask Faith about this one. She'll give me the approval to watch it with her because she loves this movie too.
And I actually read that they were talking about remaking the film, which I don't like. I think some things should be left how they were. Like I can't even imagine them doing the film now with just how teenagers are. It was just something so not innocent, but just like nostalgic about that time. I think like remaking a film like that is just, I could see a prequel, not a sequel, like having the high school students grown up, maybe like their kids going through it with them. But a remake, I think like some things should be left alone, and I think Faculty is one of them.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You're 100% right when you said that it's about like it's of the time, and I think that's honestly what always kind of keeps me away from it. Is I'm not a big fan of like that era of like the late 90s 90s and early 2000s like teen movies. Not necessarily the horror movies, but like just that generation of like like She's All That. Not is it She's All That? You know those movies
She's
where
all
they
that.
when they make the girls pretty and everything like that, and even though they're already pretty, we just take their glasses off, kind of deal.
That's very much how this movie is. Like, what is it? Jordana Brewster, is it from? Yeah,
Jordana Brewster. Yep.
Yeah, she's like the popular pretty girl, and then the grungy one at the end, like she becomes like not popular, but like the pretty girl wearing like bright colors. Like it is very like with all those movies. Like I personally, I'm just a fan of those like 90s films.
I completely understand. I know that I'm in the minority and not like them. Faith loves them too. It's just like they never like at the time. I was like just I was at the age where I was just like I don't like these. Like they're like I felt like they were more girl films, especially at the time. Just me being young and stupid. But like I also got to realize that this movie is talking about all those tropes because it's written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the Scream movies. So he knows what he's doing. So I have to give him a little bit more respect because he also wrote H2O, which is also kind of feels a little bit like The Faculty and Scream in a way.
Oh, I love H2O. I love it.
I love that one too. I just wish they would have just stopped there and not made Resurrection. But do you like Resurrection?
I don't like Resurrection. I will watch it. It is a horrible movie, like Busta Rhymes doing karate to Michael Myers.
Trick or treat, Michael.
It is just a little too much for me. It's like, and like, what was her name? What's the model's name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Tyra Banks.
Oh, it was Tyra Banks. You're right. Holy shit. I forgot about that.
It's just so bad in so many levels. Like they really tried to make it something that it's just like, ugh. I honestly wish they would have stopped too. Like,
what pissed me off is that they just basically ruined the end of H2O by saying, "Oh, that wasn't him who lost his head." Like that's like, come on.
Yeah, like I can see it when I'm watching because there is a time where he like grabs his throat, he's playing with his mask. Like, why would Michael do that? But like, why? It was like a perfect ending. It was a perfect bow at the end of Laurie Strode's story. Like, she finally gets revenge and decapitates him. But the fact that then they had to ruin it for such a crappy movie to make another buck was kind of like, guys, really? Like,
yeah. And isn't your guy? What's the guy's name? The main kid guy who he's pretty big. I can't. It's not Josh.
Oh, Josh Hartnett.
It is Josh Hartnett, right? Yeah.
Who is also in The Faculty. He's in, he
is. So he was just that kid at the time, kind of floating around, the handsome kid.
Yeah, with the messy, that doesn't brush his hair, that like, bad boy, but also beautiful type of guy.
It's just not fair to the rest of us when guys look like that. They don't realize how bad they make us feel. Like me trying on my best day, like let me put all the effort in. I'm never gonna look like that.
Stop. But they do. Faculty has, what's his name? Elijah Wood's in it.
Oh yes.
And he's the hero. He saves the day. He saves the world. So, the nerdy guy, not saying you're a nerdy guy, but I'm just saying, like, the guy who's not Josh Hartnett does come in and he saves the day and gets Jordana Brewster. So,
yeah, he did get Jordana Brewster.
For us all.
Yep. Only him and Paul Walker got to really be with her on screen. So that's a pretty big crowd to be in, I mean, a small crowd.
Yeah. It's such a good movie. Yeah, definitely rewatch it. And please tell me what you think of it.
No, I definitely will. I'm gonna rewatch that tonight. That's a lock right now because I have to rewatch it. And now you sold me on it, so I'm in the mood to watch it.
There's even a scene in it where Elijah Wood's talking to the grunt. I forgot her name. She's like in a lot of movies back then. But she is the grungy girl in it, and they're talking about like science fiction movies and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, aliens taking over the school, and they have this whole conversation about other movies. It's the very like the meta, like, movies talking about other movies, talking about other movies within a movie. And I love that scene. Like, it's like one of my favorite scenes. And then you're just looking around like, who is it? Who? Like, everybody's paranoid. Who's the alien? Who can we trust?
Yeah, we moved past that, and I forgot to say you were right about the paranoia thing. Like, these movies are a lot about paranoia. Who can you trust? Which is scary because, honestly, not to get too philosophical, but, like, when you're a kid, you kind of trust everybody. And then as you get older, it's like you kind of go the full reverse. You kind of always feel like somebody's working an angle no matter what situation you're in. So you don't know what the real person is.
Unfortunately. And it's cool because Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you're seeing it as an adult where they don't really trust anybody. humanity. But as teenagers, you're not really going into it where, like, I don't think you've hit that mark of your life where you don't trust other human beings. You probably do trust people because you haven't, like, life hasn't smacked you in the face yet. So it's cool to see it from different angles and different, points of views from all these different movies that have been influenced by this film.
Yeah, that's a real big deal, and that's why we call this show Influential Horror Films, because this one, the first to really do this kind of thing, where so many other movies have tried to, either rip it off or have remakes of it, or just, like, put in its themes, like, about humanity and politics. Like, even if I didn't really get the McCarthyism themes, mainly because I don't really remember too much about McCarthyism. I learned about it in school, but to be honest, I couldn't, I just remember Gerald McCarthy.
Just think about how great a story it is. Like, I can't talk today. Aliens coming here and infecting us and taking over our lives, completely replicating us. It's just such a genius idea. It's such a genius plot. And I'm just so happy that we continue to use that genius in other films. I hope it continues.
Yeah, I think this will be still in, like, the fact that this movie, which if you watch this movie, you could see that they just, like we were talking about the effects, they had no money. So, like, for this movie to be so influential when it doesn't hold up when you watch it visually. It's just that the themes in the movie still hold up. The acting it's all right, but everybody's kind of doing that 50s overacting, especially for those 50s sci-fi movies of the time, like, what's it? War of the Worlds came out, I think, around that time. What were the other ones that came from outer space? Like, all those big movies of the times when aliens would come to Earth. This one kind of felt a little bit more, like, it had more themes to it. Like, it had a little bit more metaphors and analogies into it.
I wanted to show you. So I was in the secondhand store a few months ago, maybe this is a year ago, and I found an original poster for the remake of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's massive. It's really big. Now this is one of the original posters. This is not a reprint.
It's beautiful. And you could tell, look at the paper stock. It's amazing. It looks like it's good material.
It is. And it was definitely a steal. I'm like, how can I not leave this store with it? No. Like, it was just a must, and it's massive. Like, it was hard for me to hold that up just now, but it's such a massive poster, and it's so, like, the artwork, it's just so beautiful.
That looks like one of the ones they would hang in a theater, actually. Like, that's how big it is. It's that really big size, because we have movie posters, but we have, replicas where they're printed on okay paper, but nothing like that.
And I literally don't have a wall, like, big enough in my house right now to hang it. So it's like put it off to the side, and I'm so ready to move and, like, put it up because it's a beauty.
Your next place, you're going to need a bigger room for all your stuff because, I mean, the way that she's facing right now, you don't see too much, but she has walls of stuff, even stuff hanging over just walkways and everything, like the bat from The Walking Dead. You have so much.
I already started putting in a different room, like my masks, like they're in my living room right now because I'm legit running out of space. But yeah, we're definitely thinking about getting, like, a fourth bedroom just for, like, to have for my office because I work remote, but also just to put all my collectibles in there as well. This stuff is just taking over my house.
Yeah, and the kids probably, you got to be careful with them around that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, they're really good though. They don't touch the NECAs at all. The pops they used to, but now they leave everything alone. They're actually, like, I don't know, programs not to touch it, but they just leave everything alone now, which is weird.
Hey, don't jinx it.
Imagine being 2 and, like, 3 and not going after these things.
You couldn't tell me not to. I wouldn't believe you for a second. No, I'm getting that stuff.
And I got Lucian, like, 2 pops for Christmas, and he unwrapped them and he put them on the table. He did not want to even a Hulk one. And what was the other thing? It was Hulk and a Killer Clowns from Outer Space. He did not even want to open them. He put them right down. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. You definitely me.
Yeah, he's learning. Hey, you've trained him already to know, like, pops, you know what? They're collectibles. We put them over here because eventually, maybe, it's not going to be like the situation. You remember from The Office when he takes the Teletubby and he's like, here, take this. That's your college fund. Like, we were wrong about those.
Okay, so out of all the films that were influenced by Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is your favorite?
Oh, it's 100% the remake of The Thing, the
Mm-hmm.
John Carpenter one. That's the one that's absolutely my favorite. The Thing is one of my favorite horror films ever. It's actually my favorite John Carpenter movie, even more than Halloween. I love Halloween, but The Thing is it's one of those special horror films for me. Also, I'm a sucker for movies that take place in the snow, so and being trapped, and that's one thing like the claustrophobia of The Thing, and you again with the paranoia, you can't trust one another. You don't know which one of them is this thing. You just never know, and that's why like the body transformation scenes, which I wonder if the sound at the end of the 1978 one had some influence on The Thing, because they're very similar sound effects.
They are very similar. Now that you say it, I didn't really even think of that. They are very similar. I definitely think that influenced that came from that as well. They're like that screechy, loud noise.
Yeah, what is that?
Horror. That's horror.
Just horror movies.
What did you think of the prequel? Did you like the prequel?
Yes, I liked it. The only thing that it kind of felt like, because what I like about the prequel is the fact that it leads right into The Thing, but what bothers me is just I feel like some of the effects just didn't age as well because they went more of a CGI effects over the practical effects. But I like the story, and again, I'm always kind of a sucker for the snow, so you kind of get a check automatically before I even watch the movie. So I'm just kind of like indifferent on it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I can watch it every few years. What about you?
I love the prequel. I like that they added the aspect, like the leading lady. I always forget her name. I absolutely love her though. She's in like Final Destination, and she's such a strong female lead. I love that they added the fact that she found out that it's like these aliens can replicate us, but they can't replicate like earrings, like piercings, fillings, things like that. I love that they added that because I don't remember that in the original or the remake film. I don't remember that in there. Like that, if you had no feelings, the chances are you were the Thing. I don't remember that ever being mentioned in that other film.
No, they never bring up anything about how the only way they were actually even able to tell that somebody was a thing is if they caught them while they were still transforming or when they did the blood test, and that was it. And you would only see how their blood reacted, but they never thought to even check the actual human beings to look for like fillings or like things that they would possibly not be able to replicate. They don't do that at all in the original Thing.
I loved that aspect. I love a prequel to begin with, but I love that they threw that in, like other ways to find out who the alien is. I had an issue with the CGI as well, but the story, how it takes place right in the beginning, how you actually see the alien ship, that was really cool. Like that made me want to know more about these aliens. Like, why didn't they come back? Where do you come from? Obviously, you guys are highly intelligent with like technology way above ours. Like,
oh yeah,
who are you? Like, I want more like that. So I love when a movie wants me, like where I want more from watching. So that's why I really just loved the prequel. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like how they gave us a little bit more answers because you're right. In the first one, it's very ambiguous. We just know that it's an alien. We see it crash at the very beginning, just really in the opening credits. That's all we know. We just know that it's been there for a very long time and that it can replicate people and it's just doing it to survive. But we have no idea where it came from. It's just one of them. That's it. We don't know anything. We just know that it literally just needs like basically one cell to survive in the Thing. And, we don't get really any other answers on that. It's very ambiguous.
So if I had to pick a favorite, I love The Thing. It's one of my favorite movies, but I'm going to have to say The Faculty just because I just feel like this movie really just took everything, like, or most aspects from the original, I want to say the Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake mostly, but the idea of it, and they formed it into a more modern day film. So I'm going to go with The Faculty. I think that would be like my favorite film that it influenced.
I would have been disappointed if you didn't take The Faculty. Although I know that you do love Get Out because we did do a video on Get Out before, so I know that you're a big fan of Jordan Peele movies as well.
Yes, I love Get Out. That's another movie I watch probably weekly. I don't know what it is about. Like, I love Us too, like Jordan Peele's movies. I love the message behind it, or the little messages thrown out through the film. Like, the more I watch it, the more I take them in.
He did his own alien invasion movie with Nope. What did you think of Nope? Did you like that one?
I am not really a fan of Keke Palmer. So I'm not really a fan of hers. I'm not personally, just acting. I feel like she's trying too hard to be, who plays Tina Turner? Why can't I remember names today?
Oh my God, Angela Bassett. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I adore Angela Bassett, and I feel like Keke Palmer is trying really hard to be Angela Bassett, which is like nobody could be Angela Bassett. So she kind of annoys me. But overall, just for an alien film, it was okay. I didn't love it. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna love this movie. I love the main guy in it. But I was like, it's okay. It's okay. It wasn't great. It was okay.
Okay. I was just curious about your opinion on that because I actually really love Nope. I actually think it's really good, but it's very much like you have to rewatch it and search for its themes because that movie likes to leave a lot of stuff ambiguous. And I do like Keke Palmer, but I think you just ruined her for me because I did not realize. Like, you're 100% right. She kind of does do like an Angela Bassett riff where she's kind of like the strong woman at all times. And and that's always kind of what Angela Bassett is. Like, she just commands a scene when she comes on. And that's what Keke Palmer's going for. And now you're right. She kind of was, because like that was my favorite performance. As much as I love Daniel Kaluuya in that, he plays that character just very pulled back. Like, he's not like, you know, like I've seen him like be able to give the showy performance. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie something of the Black Messiah. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
I haven't seen that one. No.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
But he won the Academy Award for that, and like he gives a showy performance, but Nope, he's like very pulled back.
I felt that I love him in Get Out, but I felt like he was kind of like you said, pulled back, kind of flat. I've only watched the movie once, so there's a lot of times I do watch movies once, and I'm like, I don't really love this, but then I watch it like a few more times and it does grow on me, so maybe I just do need to rewatch it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know that me and you both felt the same, like, because everyone else kind of says that Us is his worst movie, but I honestly have always felt like Us might be better than Get Out. I don't know. I love Us.
I love Us. Us is just such a great film. I wish there was like a bigger like reveal. I do like not the twist with the mom. I thought that was awesome, but I wanted to know more about these people. Like, okay, so I know the government tried to make these clones so they can control us, but how? Why? How did this continue? How did they control us? Like, I felt like I was left with so many questions, but it's a fun movie. The family's fun. The kills are fun. The costumes, like, you don't realize this is the same person. Like, you watch it and you're like, wait a sec. And this could be also another influential movie for Invasion because it's like the mind control, like the, political government controlling us, like aliens controlling us, like even reaching, it could be. This film is a work of art. I know, like, I can agree with you. I think it's better than Get Out. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. That one hit me. I remember when I saw it in a regular movie theater, and then I saw it with Faith, and I was like, that's playing in Adobe Cinemas, and I have to go see that. And I went and saw it again the next day because I just love that movie. And every time I watch it, like, I get it, maybe you don't like it, but the second reveal of it actually not being that's the tethered one, I'll never forget. I was like, I did not expect that. I mean, maybe I'm just bad at reading that movie the first time, but it surprised me.
that completely surprised me. Like, that was just like, like the whole time I'm thinking like one is the villain, but it's really like this one was the villain. Like, that, it anchored me. It surprised me. I just meant like the reveal of like their origins. Like the Red People's origins. That's what I'm gonna call them, the Red People. Like, I wanted more to that, but that reveal, like that twist at the very end, was like, oh, got me. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It got me too. I always think about the image of like them in that one room riding the roller coaster. I don't know why that pops in my head like at least a few times a week. I don't know why it freaks me out just thinking of a bunch of people just standing there. Yeah, just like that on a roller coaster in a room together. I'm like, that's freaky.
What about the eating the bunnies? Like the bunnies,
oh my god, yeah,
scooping through the guts. Like, I'm like, this is disgusting.
Poor bunnies too, yeah, and they hinted at that really early in the movie. Oh my god, it's gross.
Oh, we could literally talk about this movie for an hour, like because there's so much to talk about.
We'll have to save Us for another podcast.
we do, because it's just like, it's such a good movie.
No, Us is great. What other movies are there out there that Invasion of the Body Snatchers might have had an influence on? I was thinking of Carpenter.
There is another one called World's End.
Oh my god, World's End, like the holy shit.
with
what's
the
his name?
British guys.
Yeah, it's in the oh my god, it's in the not the Three Colors trilogy.
Directed by Edgar Wright. It's the guys who did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
It's holy shit. That's the third one in the Cornetto trilogy. I have that movie.
Friends reunite to complete an epic pub crawl and soon discover that their hometown has been invaded by alien robots. As they fight for their lives, they also explore themes of friendship and nostalgia.
Holy shit. I've seen that movie 3 times. I didn't even put that together. I have it. I have the 4K. I can't believe I forgot about that movie. That's perfect. Yeah, that is a definitely a riff on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You would like that movie. It's like it's the third movie in the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then that movie is a trilogy called the Cornetto trilogy of movies. I think that's the worst one, unfortunately. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are good again, but Simon Pegg now plays like the asshole instead of the straight guy, whereas Nick Frost is kind of like the smart guy, the more he's not as funny as the other guy. Simon Pegg gets to be the funny guy, but yeah, the aliens look like human beings, and then when like you hit them, they like turn into like this big blue goo.
I need to see this movie. I felt like I saw it, but now like talking about it and reading about it, I don't feel like I saw this movie. Or if I did, I had it on and I didn't pay attention because I personally love them two together. I am obsessed with Hot Fuzz. I am obsessed with Shaun of the Dead. I own both of them. So this is definitely like a film that I need to make sure I watch and pay attention to.
Yeah, you'll definitely like it. What it is you don't get the reveal that it's an alien invasion movie until about halfway through. Mm-hmm. The first half of the movie is really about like the fact that now they're all older and Simon Pegg's character hasn't moved on. He's still acting like an immature kid while the rest of them like have real jobs, families, and everything, and he's still acting like a dick. And that's what you kind of think the movie's going to be about, which it is. But then then they have a twist halfway through the movie where it's an alien movie because it's just a big pub crawl before that.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah.
It's weird to think of like Simon Pegg being like the goofy one out of the two, you know?
Right?
Like Nick Frost is a mess.
Yeah, and honestly, it throws me off every time I watch that movie, and I really think that's why I don't run back to it as much as like the other two.
I feel like that's pulling them out of their normal characters or like who I feel like they should be in film.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was actually the reason why they did that, is let's reverse our roles here, because you always get to play this guy and I always get to play this guy, and I kind of want to play the funner character this time, so maybe that's why they did it. But for me, I like it more when they're in their regular positions.
Have you seen Attack the Block?
Yes.
Yeah.
Attack. Isn't John Boyega in that too?
Yes, he's young in that film. Yeah, it's really funny watching him in that movie.
Yeah, because that's before, and now he's like, he's always around. I don't know if you saw the movie They Cloned Tyrone that came out last year, but he was good in that.
No, I've been dying to see it. I didn't get to see it yet, but it's on my list somewhere. I just have to like find time to watch it.
Oh, you'll love that movie, because if you like the Groundhog Day style of films where they repeat days like that, you'll love They Clone Tyrone. It's kind of like that, and Jamie Foxx is great in it.
I remember watching the trailer and just being like hysterical, like laughing so hard.
Oh, it's funny, and it's actually got, you know what, it's kind of got Invasion of the Body Snatcher themes in that one when you think about it, because they're dealing with clones of human beings.
We're just like making all these like these ties or all these it's insane to think about all these films that this movie was influenced by.
They're gonna say that we're reaching on some of these, but I don't care. You know what, I'm connecting the threads. I'm connecting them like what's his name, Charlie from Always Sunny, like
Christ, that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day.
There is no Pablo. Yeah.
Oh my god, my cheeks hurt.
Pepe Sylvia.
I'm sure we're reaching with some, but honestly, like think about it. Like a person making a movie loves movies, and they're going to take ideas and little bits from movies that they love, and I'm sure a lot of people love these films and they're going to reuse it in their film. So I'm sure we're reaching, but I'm sure we're not either. I'm sure we're on point with a lot of this.
No, I agree, and you're right in the sense that because a lot of people do, everybody who makes movies, they always pull from their favorite movies. Some are more obvious than others, but how often do you get an original idea where it's like nobody's ever had this idea in a million years? Like you got to pull from somewhere at some point. Okay. So, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers just happens to be one of those influential horror films that a lot of other horror films and a lot of other movies that might not even be horror films still pull from to this very day.
Absolutely.
So, Well, I think that's actually the perfect way to close this, don't you?
I think so too. I think that was perfect.
So this was the first episode in our Influential Horror Films podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm John from Let's Talk.
And I'm Carmela from Salem, Cellar.
And we'll be seeing you around.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, me too. And it's the original one. I heard the poster fall.
Yeah, it fell. I knew it was going to fall. Yeah. I tried to play it off.
I know you did. I heard it. That was too funny. I'm sorry.
It's like a drunk man falling off my couch.
Well, it's better than that. At least that's a little less weight to pick up.